Welcome to today's tech tip. Today's tip has to do with a modification that Google made to Google Classroom and students submitting assignments for grading purposes. If I go out to my classwork tab, and I know that this is my teacher profile because there are 4 tabs. So that's the pink bar up here is the teacher page, and my student page is the blue one. And I know that's what it is because there are only 3 tabs here. When giving students work and then asking them to turn it in, there are a couple of different ways you can do it. You can make one assignment that simply has all of the artifacts that they will need throughout this unit and make a Dropbox. I have my Dropboxes in a separate topic for each of the different units, so there is no attachments here. You could put this up in here as well, or you could just give them the artifact as well as make this a Dropbox. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a due date and time. So today is August 27th. It's 2:57, so I'm going to make this due at 3:05 p.m. Now when I do this and I set a time for it to be turned in by, I now have this option to close submissions after the due date. The one caveat is that students can still edit some attachments after the due dates. So we're going to see how that works. So I'm going to close these submissions, which means that it's they have to get it in by 3:05. I'm going to do that for both of the assignments. So this one is due at 3:05, and the summer scoop with the artifact and Dropbox, I'm going to do the same thing. So Sunday the 27th at 3:05. And I'm going to make that a hard due date as well. So you can see they're both due at 3:05. As the student, I can come down and see that here's my summer scoop and Dropbox, due at 3:05, as well as here's just my Dropbox, and it also is due at 3:05. I'm going to come in and open up the summer scoop where the template is as well as the Dropbox. And since I am a student, it's a view-only document, so I'm going to have to make a copy of this. So I have my copy, and I put today's date on here. I'm going to go to slide 4, and I'm going to enter a new text box here and say that my summer was too short. And that's all I think I'm going to do for this. And so now I'm going to wait until it's time to turn it in. So we'll just wait until 3:05. So I can see that my time is winding down. What I ended up doing was making a second copy and saying whoops. This first copy, just called copy of template, copy summer scoop 827. I'm going to go back and turn that in to the summer scoop and Dropbox in the student profile. So I was trying to do too much before the time let up. It is now 3:05, so I've just changed both of the assignment 2 times to 3:07. As a student, I go into my summer scoop and Dropbox, and I go to turn in my copy of. So I'm going to go to the Dropbox, and I'm going to turn in my copy of the summer scoop. So this is my copy of the summer scoop. I'm going to turn it in and turn it in. I have one attachment that's being turned in. You can see my time is running out. As the time is running down, so here I am trying to get it into the summer scoop and Dropbox. You can see it's still 3:07. It says work cannot be turned in after this due date. So I'm going to see if I can get it in, and I'm going to say really late. That's this one. So I had 2 here, really late. Now you can see it's in, but I cannot click on the button to turn it in. From this teacher standpoint, if I go into the summer scoop under the Dropboxes, you'll see nobody turned it in. As the teacher, I can click on the assigned, and nobody has turned it in, so they missed the due date. If I go back into class and I go up to where I gave the student, Under the regular topic, I gave the student the artifact as well as made it a Dropbox. You can see that one was turned in because I got it in just in time. So I can click on that and you can see that there is the submission. They got it in before time ran out. So as this is loading, I can see where the student entered some text. So as soon as this finishes loading, I'm going to click on slide 4. So the student was able to get it in. Now what if the student wasn't truly finished? So access has passed. It's just refreshing for me. All right, so now that it is finished refreshing, what if as the student I want to go in and maybe make some changes? Beach and ice cream. And I go in here and I paste them in here. As the teacher, again back on the pink, look at that. It's in here. Again, this is the Summer Scoop and Dropbox. So this is the Dropbox that had the artifact in it already. So you can see when I go to grade this, if the student was working on the assignment prior to the due date, the due time, and they submitted it, because it's been submitted, now the student still has the capability to edit that document and add more things in, just like here. If instead I go into the other Dropbox, so just the Dropbox, again, you can see there's nothing turned in here. The student does not have an opportunity to turn anything in. So again, if I try as the student, I'm back in the blue, as a student, I try to turn this in, I cannot turn this in. If the students are turning work in prior to the due date and then going in after the due date and making changes, how does a teacher know if they got it in on time or not? I just clicked on the student's submission where they submitted it prior to the due date but then edited the assignment afterwards. So as the teachers, remember, we always have the capability to see what's going on. So this was turned in at 3:06, 1 minute before the due date. I can click on See History and see that it was turned in at 3:06, it was turned in at 3:08, it was assigned at 3:02. So what if I go in and make some more changes? Will it log that? That'll be interesting. So this was the original teacher template. I'm going to close that one. Wish I could go back to the beach. So I've made another change to the document. Back on the teacher page, I'm just going to refresh this just for yucks and giggles. So I'm still in that Summer Scoop and Dropbox. On slide 4, I can see that there is more changes. So these 3 have been made, and as well as the extra text. And again, it does not record that the student has made any more changes to the document. That's one of the problems with making a Dropbox that also has the submission inside of it, unless you're okay with that. So again, there are 2 ways to do this. One is to have a Dropbox with the artifact, remembering that students, as long as they get their assignment turned in before the due date and time, they can still make changes to it. Or the second way is to just have a Dropbox, nothing else, and that will force the students to turn their work in on time. And that is your tech tip for today.